Hi, welcome again. My name is Buttermix, and we'll be talking now about why it's important to use projects to manage all your assets and scenes and stuff in Maya. We also talk about a little about the command line, why use the command line, and what the command line do for us. We'll start first by looking at an example project I created here. I created in D. The name of the project is example, and Maya creates by default all of these folders here where you stored everything related to Maya, like the scenes, source images you will use, the textures, the render images, and Maya keeps it all very nice in each folder. And you should be using this because it helps a lot in your when you're managing different projects at the same time, and when you have a lot of files in the same location, it becomes total chaos. So to create a project in Maya, it's actually very simple. Just open Maya, got a file. In the project menu, just click the new, and here you're presented with a lot of options for the names of the folders, but you can stick with the defaults. It's always works fine. Just need a name for your project. First, select where do you want to create that project, where you're gonna store everything, and then select a name from the project, like my project. You should name this, of course, the name of your project, the name of your client, or something similar. Then just use defaults to populate the names and hit accept. In my case, it will create it in my D drive. Accept. And if I look now in my D drive, I should have that project created. It should be here, my projects, and it creates all the default. So now, how I manage my projects in my computer, I don't have just all my projects laying on D and start there and being all a mess. I usually have a dedicated drive for all my projects that I call projects, and that's all I store in that disk. And in this case, we'll create a structure. We'll create a folder like this one, and we'll store everything inside there. So to create it, we'll use the command line. I know the command line sounds like old or cool, or some guys don't even know what it is. Like Linux users use it a lot. Windows users thinks that that's old. You shouldn't be using that anymore. And Mac users, I think they don't even know they have one, but they do, and they have one of the best because Mac and Linux both come from Unix, and Unix is a very nice system. To open the command line in Windows is very easy. You can go to a start menu and click run there, or just press the window button and the R key, and brings out the run dialog. Just type there cmd. I bet you Linux users know how to open the terminal, and if you're in a Mac, just bring up Quicksilver and type terminal, and will bring up something like this. I'm recording on Windows, so I have this. By default, it brings me to my home folder. It will do the same in Linux and in the Mac. So I want to go to the D drive. So to go to root, I just type cd for change directory, and the root symbol there, backslash, hit enter, and it brings me down to just the D drive. To create a folder, we'll use the command make dir. Mkdir will just stands for make directory, and then space and type the name. We're gonna create first the main location for all the files for our projects. So first we'll type my projects folder. You can call it your studio name or whatever. I'll hit enter, and that folder is created. We can use dir for directory listing. In Linux and Mac, use ls. And if we search here, I have my projects folder created here. We can change directory to that folder using the cd again, cd, and type in my pr. Press tab to autocomplete. Press tab again, and until we get the name. Now we are inside there. You can use clear to clear out the screen. CLS in Windows, clear in Linux and Mac. And now we'll create a structure of all the letters to store each different project in its own letter, so we have a better folder structure. And this is where the command line comes very handy, because we can create a bunch of directories with just one command. Like, we're gonna create A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way to C, and that'll be very painful to create it by hand in Windows, or by create new folder and naming it A, new folder and B, new folder and naming it C. And the command line gives us a very nice, easy way to do this. We'll make it a folder again with mkdir, make directory, and list all the folders that we want, like A, space B, space C, D, E, F, G. I'll create those, you get the idea. And when I hit enter, I'll look at my projects folder. That is not this one. It's actually this one. You see that it created a bunch of folders that way. This is a lot easier than clicking here, new folder, and hitting new and select folder and name it age, and then create another one, Y, whatever. It's much faster in the command line. So other stuff that we can make in the command line is render scripts. It's not good to render from within Maya. When you open Maya and you open up your scene, it's using all the resources in your machine. It's eating RAM, and that RAM you need it for rendering. So it's much better if you render from the command line. It's actually very easy to render from the command line. Just type render, render, and the name that you want. Just my scene, for example. I don't have it, but it will work and throw me an error. My scene name, and you see Maya start in Maya, and it will load mental tray and stuff, but it will tell me the scene name is wrong or something. So it didn't find it because it doesn't exist. But just it's that simple that Maya will throw you all the working that it's doing. You can also render for mental array from the command line. Just type render and R for the choosing a render. By default, it will render with software renderer. If you type R and then MR and then the name of your scene, it will render that scene with mental array. Of course, it doesn't exist. So again, it tells me that the scene doesn't exist, but that if your scene does exist, that's how you do it. you can automate this stuff if you gonna render like 5, 10 scenes and you just wanna render one after the other. You can make a batch script. This is easily made in Windows, Mac, Linux. It's very easy. You just create a file, like I have one here. Just create a new file. Call it, in my case, I call it render.bat. It doesn't matter how you call it, just you had the extension .bat to make it make it a batch script. In Linux, you had to name it .sh, like create a new file. If I was on Linux, like a text file, and call it render.sh. And this is the same for the Mac. You can call it like that. You can just edit this in any text editor, will work fine. And you can render a bunch of scenes like this, like just put in like this code here, home. Here you can see I have 3 scenes I want to render. I added the full path to where the render is, and the full path to where my scene is, just for safety. And if you have several Maya versions installed, you need to do this beginning to. So if you want to render with Maya 8 or Maya 7, you can put the path to that render, and it will render with that version of Maya. Also, I have here some other messages that we can put out. So if you use an echo, it will just print the message you type. Anything is valid, numbers and letters. And then I have another command here, which is time, and /d, which just will print out the time when this command gets evaluated. Like if I type here time and t, it will give me my current time. This will just echo the time when this is done, because the script file will render this file first, and when it's done, it will continue to this one, and then it will continue to this one. So you can leave this rendering all night, and you can come in the morning and see what time did it finish. And there I have a pause here at the end, so just will leave my command line open. That way I can see what time the render finished. If I save this and run it just by double clicking it, you can see here it's running and it's trying to render that scene, but it doesn't exist. So it will say it doesn't exist, but it exited and then continue with the second one. It will say again that it doesn't exist, and we'll continue with the third one. And when the third one is done, it will say, hey, I finished rendering and the time. I'm done rendering. The current time is 8:25. Press any key to continue. That's what the pause does. When I hit the key, that goes away. I know that the command line is not that maybe fun, but hey, it gives you some kind of status, like a real geeky status. But it can do very nice stuff. You can make a script that it renders your scene, then copies that rendered scenes to a new location, and then makes an API with that using Shake, for example, and then copy those files to another computer or mail them to you, or open another session of Shake where you have all those scene already composited. The command line is very helpful. It does a lot of stuff, and I use it a lot for night renders because I can't be there rendering one scene and then the other when it's done. I just let it render all night, and when I get to the office in the morning, my renders are all done. Okay guys, well, this has been kind of another techy, more tech-oriented lesson. And I hope that this helps you with your production and getting managed what you're getting around with your projects and stuff. And I hope you came around with very nice scripts. And did you see what scripting can bring to your production, and it can make your life a lot easier. So with that said, that's it for today. Hope to see you next time. This is Mix for CreativeCow.net.